Welcome back to another week of Kernel at the Buzzer. Before this podcast starts, we want to remind you that everyone on today's podcast has their own opinions and they do not reflect the Kernel in entirety.
The Kentucky Kernel and KRNL Editor-in-Chief applications are now open. The requirements include the following. Applicants must be enrolled full-time on the UK Lexington campus for the semester prior to and during the term as editor. You must be in good academic, minimum 2.0 GPA, disciplinary, and financial standing with the university. Applications must have a minimum of 1 year's publication experience and be familiar with the operation of a magazine or print newspaper. If you have not worked at the Kentucky Kernel or KRNL, you must provide a recommendation letter from a previous employer, advisor, or both. Applications are due Friday, March 15th, 2025. Email a cover letter and resume to Ryan Craig at ryan.craig@uky.edu.
Welcome back to another week of Kernel at the Buzzer. I'm your host, Kai McClellan. Once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Israel Schill, my co-host, AJ Nava, and this week we're welcoming a senior sports reporter at the Kentucky Kernel and a club sports and esports enthusiast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Colin Lewis.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're very happy to have you on this
Thanks
week.
for
It's been a
coming on.
long time coming for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure, so, guys, we've been talking about it all year, really. Kentucky basketball cannot beat those big teams. And really, there's one thing that's been going on all season, but now, as of late, it's been the injuries. And, you know, Lamont and J-Rob not being able to play. Today, actually, Wednesday, February 26th, they're probable against Oklahoma, but that's been, you know, a couple weeks without these guys. And against Alabama, the thing that we've, you know, flirted with before is that the defense cannot compete. And they gave up 96 points to Alabama. Mark Sears had another 30 bomb, sweeping Kentucky on the season. What do y'all make of this Kentucky team, one, when they're healthy, but also do you think there's room for them to improve on that defensive side now that some other people have gotten looks off the bench?
I think you're going to have like some marginal improvements defensively. It's definitely going to help getting it back. I think the kind of focus all year has been like, let's wait until the team gets healthy, and see what they can do. And going into March, obviously now you're going to have that, but I think they're kind of near the ceiling of where they would be as a defensive team. I think there's more room offensively, getting like a proper point guard and hopefully shooting a bit better. I mean, they're a good shooting team, but it's very reliant on the three ball in general.
For sure. And Izzy, I've been wanting to ask you, and also I know he's going to butt in here in a second, but in that Bama game, it was literally –
this is about Amari Williams.
It was the Amari Williams show. And, I mean, let's be honest. What team in the nation, like college-wise, has a center literally taking the ball up court? It was kind of crazy to see, and I was more impressed with his game than I wasn't. I think people were, like, kind of dogging him, obviously, you know, the free throws, the sloppy turnovers. But, I mean, he put Kentucky on his back with Otega in foul trouble and shooting bad. And, I mean, he was the reason Kentucky was even in that game. So what did you see from his performance?
Yeah, obviously you were right there with the lack of a performance from Otega, not really putting the ball up too many times, only shot it 9 times, only hit it once. That was it. It's about all you got from Otega in that game. A little bit of production on defense and, you know, still rebounded the ball well, but Amari Williams did, I think, a great job at picking up the slack in the scoring runs. I think when you need somebody – and especially in a game against Alabama, literally anybody to just put the ball in the basket. Amazing job by Amari Williams, if that's what you're looking at. And I think, in general, great game from Amari Williams. Shot it fairly efficiently, only shot the ball 9 times, hit 5 of them, decent. 7 for 10 from the free throw, it ain't horrible. 11 rebounds, you know, 5 of those coming on the offensive end for second chance opportunities, a steal, a block. 4 turnovers, it's a little tough, most on the team.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think that it's a good performance from Amari Williams. I feel as if AJ's going to disagree with me, though.
Well, he's going to say that those free throws that he missed and the turnovers that he had, although they're minimal, they happened when the game mattered most, and Kentucky was
You
trying
know
to
me
win.
so well. You know me
Read
so
his
well.
mind. And
I got an opinion on that too.
I was
I
hoping for
was going
somebody
to
to
bring
bring that
up
up.
the turnover thing. It came very late. It came in a time where you can't give up turnovers. I will say, though, y'all think I'm a Amari Williams hater way more than I am. I completely agree with Israel. He had a great game, picked up the slack where he needed to, 17 and 11. I'm not going to hate on his rebounds because he's leading our team in rebounds. Sure, it's not the 9 rebounds a game I want. It's 8.8, still pretty good. He's shown and
Bro's
proven.
dogging him about 0.2.
But he's shown and proven he's reliable
So
when
big.
when when he's in the paint and he's just dogging guys around with his elbows trying to get in close. He can get us those post-production buckets that we need. Turnovers, I hate them. You guys brought it up. Came at the absolute worst time in the game it could happen. Colin, you say your piece about it. I'm not gonna go on as a hater any longer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think you're being a hater, but I think it's easy when you look at like, you know, clutch time, when you look at individual like free throws that people miss and turnovers and stuff, and like the game elevates definitely. Then you kind of have to execute more. But like with basketball, with so many possessions and everything, there's so many times where it's just like it's easy to focus on one thing when it's really just it's all the little things stacking up. I mean, it's guys shooting 1 for 9. It's most shots on the team, 7 of 17. Like the team as a whole just wasn't very efficient. And I mean, 4 turnovers is rough for sure, and you got to cut down on those. But I think
As a center, you can't have 4 turnovers.
yeah,
And
you're not really a playmaking presence, so you're not. Usually, those turnovers aren't you trying to make a good pass. It's usually something a little
even
more
though Amari
avoidable.
Williams does
Yeah.
do quite a bit of kind of ball presence where he's giving it
He's
up
a
to guys on
connector.
the,
Yeah, he's a connector.
but still 4 turnovers and arguably one of the simplest passes you can make in basketball. Kind of bad.
The good thing about Kentucky, though, I will defend them a little bit. You have your, pretty much your 2 best players. Well, I won't call Jackson Robinson better than Ortega, but 2 of your most prominent players on the team out with injury. And you have Colin Chandler and, Ainsley was starting for a while when Andrew Carr was out, but he got some minutes off the bench. You got Trent Noah coming off the bench and getting minutes. These guys, man, like they're getting reps now, and you're getting reps against the best teams in the country, like point blank. Like it doesn't get better than Alabama. Coming forward, it doesn't get better than Auburn. Auburn smacked Alabama. So it's like Kentucky's playing in the best conference, and when it comes to like March Madness time, obviously they've been on the short end of a stick, getting eliminated first round. But this team kind of has that, proving point, but also kind of like, you've played the best teams possible. Are we going to lose to like Drake in the first round and then get bounced by like Illinois?
I don't
Probably
think so.
not. Like, I think this team is fit for a big run. I'm not saying they will be, but they're definitely like the film, the reps, the ability to have 10 people, fill out your lineup instead of having just 7 like, they did at the beginning of the year. It's important when you get into March.
Well, if UK's healthy, I think they're going into a 3-4 round run into March. Like, no question about it. We can't.
I think they're an Elite 8 team. I could definitely see
I'd
that
say
with
sweet,
everyone
sweet
healthy.
16 for sure.
I think
No,
Elite
yeah.
8 would be everybody healthy, and they play in the best ball that they could possibly think
I
of.
agree. I think that's a little overachieving for them.
I think a Sweet 16 would be a successful season. Obviously, a second-round exit wouldn't be anything new for Kentucky fans more recently.
Okay, but this is a completely new team than the Kentucky teams of the past, so we can't keep going. Hey, guys, Kentucky usually does this, the crazy upsets in the first, second round. Brand new team, can't compare them to the losses of Cal and all that old stuff.
Well, I think Mark Pope is going to have some vengeance too, because he, it's imploded in my memory that he lost to a number 11 Duquesne team because I picked it on every bracket I had. Just for some reason, I was like,
I believe
11's
I
11's
also
beating 6,
did. I was
man.
like, BYU, they don't got nothing on Duquesne.
I don't think Pope has it in his mind. I think Kai has it in his mind.
Well, let's be honest, though. Like, if you get bounced in the first round by a lower seed, at this point, I think Kentucky's like an automatic bid for March Madness. I don't think there's a question where, like, you know, even if they lose their final 3 games, they're out of it. They're locked in.
I believe that I would even say they're locked in top 7
Yeah.
7 seed.
Like,
Yeah, I
the
think
worst
so,
it could be
around
is like
there.
a 7 seed right now, or a 6, you know. We'll get into the remaining schedule later, but there's definitely like that kind of area where, like, okay, we have to focus on the rest of this season. Obviously, the conference, you know, playing the SEC tournament and stuff. But I think Mark Pope has it in the back of his mind, like, man, Kentucky has this culture lately that they get knocked in the first round. I did last year. I'm not going to let it happen again.
So let's get into that. I think would be a great segue to talk about how you guys think that they're going to finish out this season with the last 4 games. They have Oklahoma, Auburn, LSU, and Missouri to cap off their season before the SEC tournament. Guess we can start over there with AJ and go down the line here. What do you think they'll finish off in those 4 games?
I think Oklahoma, that's a W. I have high hopes that Jax Robb and Lamont, if not one or the other, will come back, and it'll get us going into Auburn, where UK is going to just get smacked. Probably number 1 team in the country. Probably. So I think UK. Just look past that. It's fine. LSU. UK has a good shot, in my opinion, to win that. And Missouri, that's anyone's game. I'll give it to UK. Colin?
Definitely high hopes.
So
Definitely
you're sitting
high
at?
hopes.
Are you sitting at like 3-1?
He's sitting at
I'm
3
sitting
and 1
at
there.
3
3-1.
and 1.
Okay.
I think Kobe Brea is due for, you know, a nice little heat check of a game. So that's going to help against LSU or Missouri.
Okay.
All right.
I think, I mean, yeah, the easy one to take is obviously Auburn. That's not going to go great because Auburn, like this Auburn team is like one of the best college basketball teams like I've watched, like, period, in years. I feel like that is just a dominant team. Oklahoma should be a win. I am a bit optimistic as well. I kind of think that, you know, with players coming back and looking to march and kind of getting in a groove, that you're going to go 3-1. I'm not sure which game. Maybe a little worried about Missouri, but yeah, I think I'll go 3-1 as well.
All
I
right.
think I would be more than a little bit worried about Missouri,
Well,
but Kyle,
Yeah, that's what I'm getting into, but also I'm going to crack y'all up. I'm sticking with the complete, like, trend of Kentucky. You suck on the road, but you're great at home.
So they're 2
I
and 2
think-
here, beating Auburn at home.
Let's be real. I mean, if,
I don't know.
I thought
Kyle,
about
let's
taking
be
it.
real.
I thought
If-
about it.
Let's be real.
okay,
Yeah,
if
be
Lamont,
real.
let's say Lamont, probable is better than game time decision
Mhm.
at Oklahoma. That's a scrape by win. Oklahoma is not someone to sleep on. I don't think they're the best, but you know, they have wins against Vanderbilt by 30, and Kentucky, you know, is split with Vandy. So
But UK will have Lamont Butler back probably.
yeah, but on the road, you know, they struggle. So, you know, I'm going to chalk that up as like a barely Kentucky win.
A win is a win is a win.
I think they go 3-0 in this stretch. I think they pull off a crazy Auburn upset.
Wow.
It's going to be a prominent
I don't
game,
readjust
man.
myself. I think I
Yeah.
need to clean
Listen.
my glasses. Does anyone
Ah.
need
We take a moment. Yeah.
I got to clean
Listen,
my ears out after that one.
Saturday at 1 p.m., prime time. That place is going to be filled with crazy
course.
Kentucky fans for
True.
the
Yeah.
number 1 team in
Yeah.
the country. They've lost to Arkansas at home. They've, you know, but I'm telling you, man,
They've
like,
lost to Alabama at home.
they can pull this off.
Don't worry,
They-
Rupp Arena
if
is
anyone,
still safe.
If
Yeah,
anyone
they
can beat
lost
the
to
number 1
Ohio
team,
State at home.
no, that was a Madison Square Garden.
Oh, you're right.
But listen, if anyone can beat the number 1 team and have a home environment to upset the number 1 team, it's Kentucky. But then, hilarious enough, I think playing at Mizzou, they get throttled, you know, to end the season. So I'm going to go 3-1, but an unexpected 3-1, beating number 1 Auburn, but losing to number 14 Mizzou on the road.
It'd be on brand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking with the trends, man.
It would definitely be on brand. Regardless, I think the Cats get blown out
They're not getting blown
by
out.
no. Like,
They're not getting blown out.
I'm
They're
sorry,
losing.
but
They could lose for sure, but they're not getting blown out.
They lost by 10 to Arkansas, man. And I know the storyline is
Chalk it
there,
up as
and-
a emotionally fueled game.
Okay.
That's like the basketball
It
gods
wasn't
being in
an
Cal's
emo-
favor.
It was a one-sided, emotionally filled
exactly.
game.
So, and
That was rough.
regardless,
Your predictions.
we'll call Oklahoma a win. I think we can chop that up as it's going to be a good game, it's going to be a close game. It'll be a scrappy win. A win's a win. Auburn, just said it. Give me Auburn by 23. And I'm thinking they're dropping 100 something.
Crazy.
And like it's going to be a high scoring game, but it's going to be like that Alabama game where it was like 102-97, but I think it'll be even more than that.
Okay.
LSU, I think the Cats can solidify an easy win there. I think that's a bounce back. We just got destroyed by Auburn. Let's get a win at home in Rupp. I think Missouri,
I've seen Missouri in person. They are
They
like
are
the
scary.
Warriors, bro. They just spark threes. Caleb Grill
Yes.
comes off the bench, and I'll stand by Caleb Grill. He is one of the best shooters in the nation, bro. When he gets hot, I mean, against Kentucky's defense, he could definitely drop like a 25 bomb.
Missouri, snowy flurry, you're in a hurry. UK by 10.
There you go. Well, I'm going to back up my close game conversation here with some more facts than that probably. Was that Missouri 5 losses in the SEC. They're sitting at 10-5 right now. I believe that's 5th in the SEC. That's 5th.
And remind me again, what's UK?
UK is 6, 7, 8th at 7-7 in the SEC. And so Missouri's losses came to Auburn, Texas, which was not a great loss, but it's a loss. Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. And so those are all teams that Kentucky has had good battles with. I think they'll be able to get in the right headspace before the game, probably come out with a win. Don't be shocked if Missouri, squeaks it out. I think it's really up in the air, going to be close.
Okay.
Guys, even though, I'm calling that number 1 Auburn upset, it's kind of obvious, I'm just kind of throwing it out there, and Kentucky probably won't win that one. And, similar to the men, the women can't get over that hump of beating, the best of the best. You can beat good teams like, Oklahoma like they did on the road, and Georgia, tying the most points ever scored in a game. But it's one of those things, like you have LSU at home. They were up big at halftime, and
They were up 12
everyone thought-
at halftime.
everyone actually thought like they were going to do it. And then Kim Mulkey comes out, shows why she's one of the greatest coaches to ever coach anything ever. And LSU, I mean, they outscored them by 20 points. UK scored more points in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter than they did in the entire third quarter. So, like,
Rough.
coming out at halftime, there's no energy, and it's just like, man, these teams really are, like, the best of the best, and there's no, like, wavelength for Kentucky to, like, go from that 4 spot to that top 3. They're just literally just stuck right now at 4.
Mhm.
That LSU game was,
Insane.
It's one I thought they were actually going to win, and I was just like, man, let's
at
go.
one point,
Wow.
they led by 16.
Yeah.
And in the
That's
first
rough.
half, and going into that, I'm sure everybody in that locker room, though, was trying to feel out as if it was going to be all okay and fine. They were terrified. At the end of the day, I'm sure everybody on that Wildcats roster was terrified. You're going in and you're playing one of the greatest coaches of all time, as Kai said, but also an LSU team that has proven to be great, and not just this year, but over time. So it's a scary feeling to have this team walk into your home and everybody's thinking they're going to beat you, and then bam, you get out to a 16-point lead. Halftime comes along. I don't know what Kim Mulkey said in the locker room. Probably not a lot of things that we're allowed to say on here. But Michaela Williams comes out, scores 15 of her 24 in the second half. LSU rallies down 16 and comes out with the win. And, for the seniors, Georgia and Deja, it's probably a heartbreaking loss.
Yeah.
It definitely hurts to lose that one at home.
Especially getting their flowers, before the game and everything.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you're
rough.
going into that really hoping that it's going to be a picture-perfect performance in your last game at Memorial Coliseum. Georgia played fine.
Do you think there was a bit of the classic, like, cliche, the playing not to lose? Once you're up 12 against a team that you don't think, deep down, you don't think probably that you are typically going to beat them.
I think what it was is like Kentucky was in a flow state that first half. They were really getting it going. They're up big. And you know when you're playing ball yourself and you get in that flow state, you're just in it,
All
not
the time.
thinking about it.
I'll tell you right now, AJ.
All
no,
the
I don't
time.
know what that feels
Well,
like.
when
I don't
you're
know
in
what
that
it feels
flow
like to get in the
state,
flow
you're not
state.
thinking at all. You're just going at it, and then someone just taps you on the shoulder and goes, dude, you just scored like 10 straight points. How are you doing that? And then that snaps you out of
Yeah.
flow. I think
It's
that's
Start
what
like they
thinking
happened
about
were
it.
rattled in the locker room almost. Like they were scared to
We're
be
not
up by
supposed to
that
do
much.
this.
Yeah, we're not,
Exactly. Oh,
like,
why are we
they
here?
started
Oh, my
thinking,
holy moly.
how are we here? And
Yeah.
that kind of snapped them out of it. Then they got in their own
And
heads.
I mean, they shot 15% in the third quarter as a team, 14 from 3.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't want to dog Georgia. I mean, but I've said it multiple times. She's the star, and it's so blatantly obvious. There's no one on that team that has the skill set that she does.
Mhm.
So she was just getting blitz. And she ended up having one of the worst shooting performances of her career. You know, not really a factor in that whole second half at all. And that's not production you can get from your, star point guard.
And production you can't get from the team as a whole. 1 for 14 3-point shooting in the second half. That is
I mean, they
horrendous.
shot 16% the whole game, and Georgia Amore contributed to that percentage like no other.
Yeah, that
3
really-
for 15.
Yeah. I
I
was just
really-
going to say flashbacks to Houston Rockets, sort of.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like James Harden.
Yeah,
It's literally like
Harden.
James Harden, bro. That's a great comparison,
That
though.
honestly is,
Because
though.
it's a ball-dominant guard that has great role players around him, but not
And then you can't put a ball in a hoop from 3.
Yeah.
but also
Or
very
from 2.
Yeah.
but also very
In this
able
case.
to go off for 40 every night. And I mean, that's really exactly how Georgia's situation is right now. I made the comparison already, but just going forward, you have Tennessee at home and you have South Carolina on the road. Those are not give-me games. Those are definitely not games that are going to be, chalked up as a win or a loss by looking at it. South Carolina's actually beatable for once. I'm not saying, Kentucky's going to go to South Carolina and beat them by any means, but there's at least a slim, piece of hope, similar to how LSU was. I mean, I think everyone saw LSU and was like, oh, Kentucky's going to win, but that first half ended, and they're like, oh, my gosh, like, they can win. It's going to be the same situation there. And Tennessee's almost pretty similar to Oklahoma, who Kentucky beat pretty fairly. I think they're just going to mash in the season, 1-1 with their 2 remaining games. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but that's just me.
I think that's a good finish. I think that's the best finish that you'll probably get from them in these 2 games. These are tough 2 games. We talked about it so much to start the season that these last 10-ish games were going to be such a tough stretch for the women. They lost to some teams that we thought they would beat. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I think 1-1 is just the way it's going to end up. I don't know who they will beat and who they will lose to. I also would not be surprised if they went 0-2. If they went 2-0, I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket. That's amazing,
Yeah.
But it's really hard to tell, and we don't know. But I think at least with those 2 games remaining, it will be easier for us to tell how they will perform in the SEC tournament.
I think 1-1 and 0-2 are pretty good standards by all means. I mean, if they can do what they did in the LSU game defensively and just clean up the offense just a little bit, Georgia, please clean up the shooting. Everyone on the team, please clean up the 3-point percentage. 1-1, solid.
Yeah, I mean,
Call it.
no, I know. I'm looking at this, and, like, it's honestly, like, the fact they're even going to finish the season, like, 22-6.
I was
it's
going
great,
to say
man,
that
like-
regardless they have the slack to drop both of these games and be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 6-4 in the last 10, I think.
I believe so. Yes.
So I mean, yeah, if they go 1-1, then you're 7-5, like for the last 12 games of the season. I mean, especially with
Best conference in the nation.
Absolutely.
as always.
yeah, and new regime. It's I think it would be, it would be not an overachievement, but just something to be happy about.
I think regardless, the season's already be happy with. And
Doubling your win totals
Yeah.
from last year, I mean, almost guaranteed.
So I say let's get our March Madness predictions in for this women's team and move on to club sports here. We'll start back down with AJ, work down the line.
This team is horribly understaffed, unfortunately, for them. So I think a second round exit might be in the cards for them.
Okay. I was going to be a little more generous and go like third round. But, yeah, I think when you have something that's so reliant on, like, one player, especially with college ball, like, once you get into March, it's, the game planning and everything changes. And I think that's probably part of what LSU did is it's just you can take so much of the game plan away from Kentucky when you just look at Georgia, You just look at Georgia Amore.
And then they can double her, and that's half the game plan.
Yeah, exactly.
I like your all's points. I definitely agree. They're, I'm pretty adamant they're going to get that double bye in the SEC tournament. They'll have some experience there. I mean, it just depends how it stacks up. I would say third round at best, though. I see it being a Sweet 16 year for Kentucky. But that's not to fret on anything they've done. It's just too soon to call them anything beyond that.
Yep.
I mean, it's looking like right now they're going to go in at about a 3 or 4 seed. It's hopefully they'll be playing some not too hot teams off the rip. It looks like they'll get somebody like Gonzaga, who's no problem in women's basketball, especially with the depth issues there too. So I think it'll be no problem for them to get past first, second round, third round. Yeah,
Agreed.
I'd call it third round. It would be really awesome if they made it one more for them, but
best of luck to both basketball teams, though.
best of luck for sure. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break from the episode here to play another mini game this week, challenging the guys to name that team. So the rules for this one are basically like this. I'm assuming you guys have seen the TikToks or Instagram reels of people with like a basketball court, and at each position they'll have the logo of the college of that where that starting five went to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So you guys will be getting the starting 5 college logos of 5 random NBA teams, and
Okay.
you will have to tell me
This is gonna
what
be
team
fun.
that is.
Oh, God,
Okay.
I'm awful at
Okay.
this.
The little twist here is that each team has at least one Kentucky player.
Okay.
Okay.
So there will be
there
will be some small hints in there to help you.
Okay.
We're gonna start off here. Is everybody ready to go?
Man, this is going to take
give me 1
forever,
second. Okay,
actually.
point
Yeah, but I'm
guard.
gonna edit it down to fit. But I think this is gonna be a fun game to play.
Point guard. Okay.
So yeah,
The
I can help you guys out with
Sacramento
telling.
Kings. It's not the Thunder.
No. Oh, yeah, Shade. I
Yeah.
always forget he went to Kentucky.
Yeah, me
Come on,
too.
guys,
It
you
feels
guys
like he
got
didn't,
this. You guys got this. One of these players was an all-star this year. And
It's the Miami Heat.
It's the Miami Heat.
Bam,
Tyler
bam,
oh my
Hero,
God.
Oh
Miami
my
Heat.
God.
That is
Oh
the
my
first
God.
one. So I will help you guys out
I'm
here.
thinking of-
this is Tyler Hero, Davion Mitchell,
Xaviano.
Kalel
Davion
Ware.
went to Miami?
Davion Mitchell got traded to Miami.
Yeah, I was still thinking he was
Yeah.
in Sacramento.
Yeah, dude. So it's
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
man.
Wiggins,
yes.
because he just got traded.
Yep.
See, the trade.
so the trades really get you. So
Yep. Let's
next
move on.
one for you all.
Phoenix Suns.
Bam.
That was
Just
that was
like
quick.
that.
Yep.
Wow, that was really good.
Shout out Kevin Durant going to the Longhorns.
Yeah.
That said
Yeah.
it.
That was a
Oh
great-
man.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good
KD.
one.
Who's the big man?
You're
I thought
talking.
it was like
fantastic
Yusuf
question.
Nurkic.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
not no.
Nick
No.
Richards
Nurkic
is currently
gone,
their starting
so it's
center.
Nick
That's who it was.
Richards.
It's Nick Richards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they traded him to Charlotte.
Yep.
Man, the
He's the
NBA
starter
Trades
now.
are
killing
really
them.
killing you here.
Yeah,
because
they
of
traded
the
him to
trade,
Charlotte.
Nick Richards got moved up to starting
Yeah.
center.
I needed about 2 more
Yeah.
seconds on that one.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, you were there though.
Yeah.
Because KD
I was,
gets it away with
exactly.
Texas.
KD, yeah.
You see,
Does Grayson Allen not start?
Nope. Grayson Allen.
Who's the Baylor, Florida? I'm just trying to learn.
Florida is Brad Beal. Baylor is Royce
Okay.
O'Neal.
Royce O'Neal. Okay.
Great job. AJ's killing it for like the first
Is he
time
up 2-0?
ever. He is up 2-0. Dang, dude. Good job, AJ. All right, next one.
this isn't the Kings. No.
No.
The Raptors.
It is indeed
Yes.
the Toronto Raptors. That's
oh man, I
Emmanuel.
missed that logo.
It's a beautiful logo. I feel like I had to put it up. So
Thank
this
you for
is
putting that
obviously
one.
Emmanuel.
Listen.
Emmanuel quickly.
RJ Barrett.
Grady Dick. You got it.
Boucher went to Florida State.
No.
No.
No, Scotty Barnes went
Scotty.
to Florida State, and
Man.
Jakob Podol.
Jakob-
Yeah,
he went to
the front
Utah?
court.
Jakob Podol
I
went
thought
to
he
Utah.
came from France.
I also did think that he came from France.
I was hyperfixating on the front court, and I was like, I don't know either.
Yeah,
of these.
exactly. Okay,
Okay.
so it is 2-1. AJ technically has not secured a victory.
How many more
Yet.
teams are
Two
on
more?
this?
2 more.
Two
more.
This
Okay.
is
Okay,
probably the
okay.
closest game that we've ever had.
This is. Went to Stanford.
So
The
this
Mavericks.
is the Mavericks' healthy starting 5,
Yeah.
not their current starting 5.
Oh, there
But-
goes
Who went-
AD.
PJ Washington.
PJ Washington,
Yeah. Kyrie's the dude.
Kyrie is
I'm
the dude.
truly horrific at
Klay
this game.
Thompson is Washington State.
Wazoo, baby.
Klay Thompson,
Mhm.
Washington State.
So, ladies and
It's down to the
gentlemen,
buzzer.
with
Good
just
luck, good
one to
luck.
go here,
Colonel at the bus.
At the buzzer.
this is for the game, folks. Are you ready?
What if I come in and get this one? It's not gonna happen.
Winner takes all.
Theoretically, if you come in and get this one, I will come up with a random trivia question in my head for the winner
Ooh.
of Kai. You'll still
Okay.
not win, but you'll just make sure that they both don't win on this one. All right. Come on, guys.
The Brooklyn Nets.
Nope. You got this. You got this. Who is a foreign center in the NBA? There's only so many.
Okay.
The foreign
Not
starting
the
center.
Spurs, not the
No, not the
Nuggets.
Spurs.
Don't look at me. I'm not going to tell you.
Who played point guard at Ohio State? I can only think of D'Lo.
I know. This
The-
one really threw me
He went
off.
to Louisville.
I was
The
like,
I
Timberwolves.
can't remember.
This is
Wow.
the Minnesota
Oh my God, Cat.
Timberwolves.
Why would it?
Carl,
Yup.
no.
Shout out
not Cat.
Anthony
not Cat, not
Edwards.
Cat. Yes, yes, Julius Randle.
Randle.
Shout out Anthony Edwards for
Oh
going
my
to
God.
Georgia. He put it over the top for me.
Oh.
Shout out Julius Randle.
All right, so we will, I guess, by force,
For the
congratulate
first time.
AJ
You got it,
for
man.
the second time.
Second time.
He won 2 weeks ago.
I- Hey,
He doesn't
let's
win a
go.
lot.
Let's
That's
For
go.
the second time ever.
Two-time winner.
Two-time champ.
It would be an
AJ.
NBA game. That's my stuff.
Navo. Yeah, congratulations.
What do you
AJ.
Bragging rights?
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I get to put this on my LinkedIn. That's
Oh,
what I
there you
get.
go.
Two-time Colonel at the Buzzer
Two-time,
mini game
two-time.
champion.
I'm
All
going
right.
for 3. I'm going for 3.
So club sports right now, kind of at a high a little bit. If you talk about the hockey team, had a great performance. Lacrosse, wouldn't necessarily call it a high, but they are definitely having a season. So we'll start with hockey.
My area of expertise.
Yes,
Colin.
Colin's area of expertise. They pulled out, I'm going to call it a bit of an upset win in
Over
the
Dayton?
TSCHL playoffs.
Yeah.
Coming out with the victory, the whole victory in general, finishing off that one, being the first time ever coming away with that championship. Colin, what do you kind of take away from that?
So, I mean, shortly afterwards, I mean, you're riding the high because of that win, which they were a team that was going to compete for sure. And Dayton's someone that they've kind of split games with in the past, but it was convincing. Like, it was a shutout or they had 2 shutouts during that tournament with Riley Allen. And I think obviously after that, they then went to the regional tournament and they lose to Indiana, and that's, not ideal. They're
And a
not
close
going to.
one though. It wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't even like they got blown out.
Yeah, they had the lead for a bit, and then it was a little back and forth. But it's the team's interesting, like the outlook going forward, because they're still a really young team. I think there's only 2, maybe 3 seniors on the roster, and if you have a good goalie in hockey, that's kind of like, obviously this isn't the NHL, but you look at, like the Martin Brodeurs, the Flurries, like no matter who you have around that goalie, you're always going to be able to compete if they're good. And Riley Allen's at on the season was at like a 94 save percentage.
I mean,
Dang.
that's unbelievable.
That's
He had,
Wow.
and he had 6 shutouts, which is now like second all time for the school. He's
help,
at 1 away.
help me here. But Canada's goalie that played, what's his name?
Oh,
Carey Price.
That played against USA.
Mhm.
Unreal, bro.
In this
Yeah,
round.
Yeah. And,
Yes.
I'm not a hockey guy, but I'm getting into it and I'm learning and I'm keeping up with the UK as well. And it's just like, I straight up watched the best players in America in the NHL getting shut out by this guy. And I mean, I don't know if it's because I've never watched it, but seeing somebody literally grab a puck out of the air, like to think of the reaction time and like the skill you have to do it, goalies mean everything when it comes to hockey.
Yeah, it's a crazy position. I think Dayton I think they got 28 shots on goal, which in hockey, if you're getting like that amount of volume, it's like a lot. And
you expect at least 2 or 3 of those to go in if you're taking 28 shots.
And to your point, Kai, it's not just impressive how
0.
Goose. Oh, yeah.
There you go. Once again, goose egg.
Shout out to Goose Egg.
Shout out to Goose Egg.
AJ didn't know what goose egg meant.
Oh, that's
Like, you know, like
but
zero.
that's just like that's universal sports.
Not for
Should be.
Donut is universal.
I mean,
Goose egg is not.
You could use context.
Okay.
but-
Come on.
But to Kai's point about the goalies, they are super impressive as always. But one thing I love to mention about them is that they are not right in the head, because you have to be crazy to sit there while guys are just flinging pucks at you
gotta be
at
patient,
an unholy speed.
Yeah, it is similar in lacrosse, and I think that gives us a good little segue point there.
First of all, shout out to y'all for going to North Carolina.
thank you.
Thank you.
We
Thank
Wow,
you.
appreciate it.
Bit of a
that's
drive.
impressive.
Traveled to Raleigh this past weekend for the games that they played, but unfortunately, both of them resulting in a loss. 16-10 loss against Clemson and 22-10 loss against North Carolina State. Second one a little more brutal. It was very close. The score is not as telling as it may seem. It was close up until I believe the last 4 or 5 minutes. They dumped in like.
I mean, stats never tell the whole story,
7
especially
or
in
8
lacrosse, especially with this Kentucky team.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit psychopath in net. Arguably one of my favorite players on the team of just play style, Connor France, the big baguette.
Connor
who
France.
starts
big
a
baguette.
lot in goal for the Wildcats. He is sitting at an extremely impressive save percentage. While the goal is a lot bigger in lacrosse, it's not going to seem as impressive as it does
After
with
a 94.
hockey. Yes, but his save percentage is at 61.8% in the long run. That is very solid for lacrosse. Only let in 21 goals all season on 34 saves. So he's been doing great things, but specifically, that man with no fear, and this is why I love lacrosse so much, will, on a one-on-one with somebody with the ball, he will take 2-3 steps out of the net and just lay the man out. he won't even give them the chance to shoot
Rugby
it.
style.
Yeah, he'll just,
does.
you know what? No. And he'll just
And
he'll
I
just run out.
promise you that happens every game.
Every
game.
At what point did they start thinking like, let's just try and shoot it a little sooner? Like,
Oh, well, you know, I think it usually only happens like once or twice a game,
Oh,
because
okay.
then he starts to
Yeah.
get penalized. Because the hits usually are
Then the ref
close.
sees what he's
The
doing.
hits are like close to legal. Sometimes they ride the border. But he's great.
But the thing about it is, you don't expect it for guys of his size and stature. You don't expect
No, and he
the
is-
running at you.
He is listed on the Kentucky Lacrosse website, and this is not correct. So we will have the backstory.
They're doing
first
the little
in just
NBA bump?
1 second. Yeah.
No, it's the opposite,
It is
actually.
the opposite,
Oh.
actually. They have Connor France at 5 foot, 245 pounds.
Oh
On
my
the website,
God.
He is not 5 foot. So the backstory
Okay.
behind that,
Short
That's
king.
the team
Pause.
managers were, they had a few beverages one evening and decided this would be really funny if we changed his height to 5 foot. So when people go
It
look
is.
at him on the website, he's 5 foot 245.
He is
so,
not 5
So
foot.
he is,
though.
I would say 5'8".
Like my
Okay.
height.
He is
so
a respectable height.
He is a respectable height.
size.
He's and he is a great goalie.
He's a great goalie. He's a
Somebody
great
else I
goalie.
want to highlight real quick, Chandler Newton, who, man,
He's a dog.
he's a dog.
He's a
and
dog.
And he's putting in goals at long pole. Unbelievable. So Chandler Newton, the long stick midfielder, usually only ever on there for face-offs or whatever it may be to just assist on the defensive front. But sometimes he slips over that half field and they'll dump him the ball, and he's not afraid to rip it. Scored 2 goals against Clemson. I believe it was another 1 or 2 against North Carolina
I believe
State.
it was just 1.
Was it 1?
I think so, if memory serves me right.
And so I think that puts him at around 6 on the season.
6 goals.
Crazy, unheard of for a long pull. Believe would put him at the 3rd leading scorer after Peter Johnson and Will Gazaldo.
And something just as impressive, he is 10 for 12 on faceoffs. Very reliable, very reliable.
Very
It's
reliable.
something you need. Kentucky's biggest weaknesses this season has been the face-offs. Usually in the game, they allow a goal, and then they can't win the face-off, and then it just becomes make it, take it for whoever they're playing.
And I'll put that in perspective. Really bad on face-offs is like 145, lost 90 on the year. So they have lost double the amount that they have won. Really tough for them. So a lot of the times they'll choose to just throw a long pull on there to take the face-off and just go straight to playing defense. And it's working out for them pretty good so far.
I wouldn't say it's working out for them pretty good. Their record is 1-6 on the season.
I will say that has nothing to do with it.
It does have nothing to do with it.
It
But
has nothing
that
to do
statement just threw me off.
It
You
is.
said it's working pretty well.
Well, I mean, to send us off, I mean, really, from what I've seen, the vibes are there. They seem like a very togethered team, and they're just, glued at the frame. The record doesn't always indicate that, but going forward this season, maybe they can turn around.
Yeah,
There's still a
we'll
chance.
see. Yeah, there's definitely a chance. They play day this episode comes out 8 p.m. at home, and then they have another home one on Sunday against Alabama at 11 a.m. So that will be two fun ones. Obviously, AJ and I will be there calling those ones. So definitely looking forward to it.
Very much so.
Hopefully revenge for basketball's Alabama.
Hopefully they can put the brooms down.
Thank you for watching and listening to another week of Kernel at the Buzzer. Make sure to check us out at KY Kernel Sports on Twitter, and also check us out at kykernel.com for all your sports news and updates. Once again, I've been your host, Kai McClellan, and we want to thank you for catching up with the Kernel.